guys, I'm here to film a review for Lady Helen and the Dark Days Deceit by Alison Goodman. I feel like it's been a hot minute since I've just sat down to do like a book review because I've just done reading vlogs recently and not that many books that I've read I've wanted to film reviews for, but this one I need to talk about. I just need to, and I'm dying, and they're gonna be spoilers because I just can't. Like, I have to talk about everything that happens, and I'm really excited, so let's just get into it. I was almost 2 years waiting for this book, guys, so the level of I need to read this right now was killing me. I got the book and then I still had to wait until I read Kingdom of Ash and all that before I could get to it, but the minute I finished Kingdom of Ash, I was into this book. And my god. So like, it did start out with me feeling a bit down about what was happening because it wasn't as great. I was like, where is the greatness? Where is the awesomeness of this series? I wasn't the biggest fan of the time skip that happened in this book. We had like a 5-month time skip and I just felt disconnected from the story because I wanted to know what happened right after at the end of book 2. It ended with Carlston being all like, I love you, and her being like, I'm gonna marry Selbert, and now it's 5 months later and I'm like, they don't talk about it? Like, what? By the second half, I really started to love it, and like everything that was happening, I was like, oh my god. Like, I read 180 pages in one day and that was reading the rest of the book, and I was just so bored in that moment. Lady Helen was amazing. She really came into her own as a reclaimer. I did say that when I read book 2. Seriously became so awesome and she had so much power, and like, I loved that so many people started to believe in her, and especially the male reclaimers who were all like, she ain't gonna do shit, she's a woman and shouldn't be able to do nothing, we are superior because we are males. At least Carlston and Hammond and all that believed in her. So these people finally were like, oh shit, she's pretty epic and fierce. Lord Carlston, and I have to say, I kept thinking his name was Castleton, so I keep going to say Castleton. So if I do say Castleton, that is why, because his name is Carlston. Gosh, he is just everything to me. I love him. He is just a grumpy grump who is just too precious for this world. And like, he kills people. And he didn't start out as a nice person, but I just can't help but love him. He's just perfect in every way. He is such a protective person and he's always trying to save everyone around him. And then like in this book we learned so much more about him and we see him in so many different new lights, and I love that because there were so many things where I was just like, whoa, I can't believe Carlston just said that or did that. It was just so great. I love the setting and the time period for this trilogy. Even though it is hard to read and it's dense, this is a fallback that I've had the whole trilogy and I've come to accept it. Like in the first book I was like, oh, and then I read the second book and I was just like, oh, but I love the book, and this book I was still, oh. This book got 5 stars. Like, I'm not disadvantaging it for the setting. It's just because I'm used to the modern world that sometimes reading something that's so effing detailed can be very difficult. And so many books that are about historical fiction tell me what's happening. This book seriously shows you every single detail in so much detail, and I just love it. Having read books like Clockwork Angel and Stalking Jack the Ripper, they feel really away from the world and it's all about what's happening to these characters. Now they're in this world where society is important, but because we're doing other shit, it's okay for us to get away with stuff. Lady Helen has such consequences in society and propriety because everyone's all like, why the heck are you hanging out with Lord Castleton when you're meant to marry Duke Selbert? Like, hey, you're betrothed and this guy is such a shit bitch, and like, why are you going off without men, and why are you doing this and why are you doing that? And everyone is always on her about everything because she is a reclaimer in a time where women didn't have anything, really couldn't even go to the bathroom without 14 people following them. Alison Goodman actually did so much research and I can't even believe how many details she's put in there. It's all the stuff about like the different titles. Like, sometimes you're a lady, your first name, and other times you're a miss with your last name, and sometimes it happens with the dudes. And Selbert isn't actually his name, it's just kind of like his estate area name, but his last name's actually something different, and it's just like, what? Detail they put into how you get dressed, and it was very much in the first one, but it's kind of dulled back in this one because we're kind of used to how they get dressed now. But like where you have to sit when you dine, and like when you're leaving a room to go to dinner, people that have the biggest titles have to like go in pairs, so it's all like, what? Like, it's just the stuff that I never would have thought of. And so many books and movies really gloss over these very important details of how the heck the world works. You come into this book with Helen and Carlston after 5 months still trying to figure out how to use the reclaimer bond because they are the grand reclaimer and trying to figure that stuff out. And as Helen absorbed the legatus, I think that's what she called it, has the power of this blood book inside her, and she can see some information from it but not really, but can bring up this power, and she touches Lord Carlston, it like flows through him and is like redirected through him. So it's all very interesting how she has so much power and he can't really do anything, and they're trying to figure it out and be like, what? We also learned out that she's both part 2 and part 3 of the Triadis. I think that's what it's called. You need these 3 things to open up a doorway to get to the Deceiver realm so they can bring Deceivers back and put them in everyone's body and then take over the whole entire earth, and we don't want that to happen. So Helen is just walking around and she's 2 parts of this thing. By the end of the book, she does kind of understand how to get control of her power, and it does involve her reclaiming someone's soul so that she can have a tether on her magic so that she doesn't completely explode, because it's kind of where it seemed like I was going with the descriptive. And her first reclaim was actually Mr. Pike's wife, and because she had so much energy in her soul, she died during the process, and he's all like, bitch, you just killed my wife because you wanted to get some control. And it's like, mate, heaps of people are gonna die. Sad, but it's still just like intense. Also Darby, who is her Tyran, I think that's how you say it. Like, so many terms in this book that I'm like, I don't even know what that says. She is part of this bond, and if she touches Lady Helen, she absorbs the dark energy into herself and then rebounds it back so that she kind of gets her tether on herself. So all 3 of them are connected here. As a side note, I have to say I really do love Quinn and Darby's relationship, and they're like the servants of Lady Helen and Lord Castleton, like respectively, even though like they're not servants, like they love them. They've been so cute throughout this trilogy, and they're not meant to be together. That's the whole thing. Like, if you're in the Dark Days Club, you can't be married to anyone, but like seriously, they get married in this book and it's so cute. They have like the cutest little wedding, and it just made me want to cry, and I'm just so happy that they're happy. Helen and Lord Carlston, on the other hand, though, I needed more. The angst was there, but not nearly enough. Like, nowhere near enough. Like, their forbidden love wasn't even mentioned enough, and they didn't even mention it at all. They were just kind of casually going on with their lives, and I'm like, she can't marry this other bitch, and she needs to be with you, and you can't even like kiss her. I have one moment where they lightly kiss before they go into a battle, and they say they love each other, but then it takes forever for anything to happen again. And actually, they were going to run off together, but it was only like a thought for literally a second. And then Lord Carlston finds out that he has a son, so he fucks off and goes find that kid. And Lady Helen marries Selbert, and then he comes back on her wedding like, I love you, I'm back. And she's like, bitch, I just got married. Like, you couldn't wait. Wedding plot was so annoying, and I just was like, God. I didn't think she was going to get married, though. I thought it was going to be like a last minute, like, you know, he'd come at the wedding and be like, I object. But no, she married Selbert. And the son thing only lasted like 2 chapters before Helen's like, oh, that was fake, bruh. And like, because Lord Carlston was gonna get a divorce from Lady Elise because she's aspired off somewhere, and he's like, I want a divorce, and then he was gonna be with Helen, but then it's stuffed up. And seriously, at the end, we had the tiniest little moment, like maybe it lasted a page, where they kissed, and I'm just like, really? Like that's it? You're not gonna have any forbiddenness at all? Like, I know it's the society in the book, but like, seriously, I just wanted them to like, I don't know, I just needed more from them. Oh my god, I hate Selbert with a passion. I have never liked him, like never. He is so controlling and so against Helen being stronger than him. He's a man and he should be the stronger one, and he has to protect her, and I'm just like, bleh. Never listens to her, and this irritated me in book 2, where it's like, she tells him to stay there and she goes upstairs, and then a second later he's up there, and then he fucking ruins everything, and I'm like, my god, like, she told you to stay, you just listen. And in this book, he was always undermining every decision that she made. Baby, in the shot. Ugh, I have a baby. He wanted to come say hello. Say hello. Helen's just fine with it, and I'm like, how are you just fine with it? And my god, I actually got so invested into the book in the scene where Helen and him are talking about they're gonna get married and then they're gonna have to have sex, you know, and he's all like, we gotta produce hairs as soon as possible, and she's just like, well, I can't have a baby right now. Well, it's not like it's something that can wait, and she's just like, well, we won't have sex then, and he's like, it's a fucking man's right. And I'm like, oh, mate, no. Are you telling me that because it's a man's right, women don't have no say in when they want to have sex? I know it was the thing to have sex on your wedding night, but still, it is so territorial, and it just made me go, ugh. And I was so invested in the book because I just wanted to punch him. But just saying, of course he can't just be an asshole. Of course he's part of the Grand Deceiver because that's just convenient. I saw this coming for book 1, honestly. Before I even knew what a Grand Deceiver was, I was like, yep, Selbert. As if it wasn't gonna be him, because we need to make it so simple so that Lady Helen and Lord Castleton can just magically get together because all their people die. Of course, Lady Elise, who was Lord Castleton's wife, is the other part of the Grand Deceiver. I wish that it wasn't them so that they would have to deal with the consequences of still being married and being married new, because it would have been like, okay, what do you do now? Do you just kill them because you want to be in love and make it like a horror story? I didn't expect Lady Elise to actually be moving through bodies of people in their inner circle though, because she started out in Delilah's body, and like the whole thing with Mr. Trent and all that crap was just a ruse so that Helen would go and save Delilah from being in shame. So then Delilah and Selburne had like this thing going on, and I'm like, okay, they seem a bit friendly. So at first I was thinking it could be Delilah, but then I was like, it's going to be too obvious to have Lady Elise actually be the part of the Grand Deceiver. I was like, I thought they wouldn't go that far, but then they did go that far. But then Delilah died because she got stabbed in the neck, and she transferred herself to Lady Margaret, and then at the end she was acting very weird. So to actually have a lot of main characters die in this book, it was quite sad because they were very important people. Sad too for Mr. Hammond at the end when he realizes that his sisters died, and he just, the utter scream that came out of him, it was so tragic. It was honestly over so quickly though, because they were all like, ah, there's no hope, and then Helen just jumps through the portal and gets pulled back out and everything's fine, and I was like, whoa. That ended, and then they just chat to the Queen for a bit, and they get divorces and broken up, widow and widowers, and then they get married, and then everything's gonna be happy probably, but like we have to be in mourning. Selburne died on the wedding night. Andrew, her brother's like, what are we gonna do now? And Helen's like, I'm just gonna go buy a house, mate. I'm a duchess now, bitch. I'm just gonna go live on my own. And it's like, your husband just died. You have to act a little bit sympathetic. People think that an oven exploded and he died, and you're just gonna be like, oh, whatever, shit happens. Like, I love this book world so much, so like the characters are so great, and it still deserves the 5 stars, but just how the most obvious thing ever actually happened is just so funny. But anyway guys, hopefully you enjoyed my book review. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.